Lamar Jackson, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, but Brock, they're not winning because of him.
He's not turning the ball over.
He's managing the game. And if we were to put that in its own right as game managers, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott. These are game managers.
Let's pause it right here. When we start talking about Dak Prescott in a sense of being a game manager, maybe that could have been the situation and scenario if Cam Newton is talking about 2016, maybe 17, but all of that game management stuff, it changes, man, when 2018 occurred, especially when we were 3-5 and the Cowboys were looking at it like, hey, we can just run behind Zeke. Keep in mind, we were 3-5, and then they added to Amari Cooper, and Dak Prescott been different ever since then. Now, 2019, of course, that was a situation that the Cowboys finished out 8-8 that year, but there were a lot of games that were real close, but we're not going back and forth with all of that. We're talking about the 2023 Cowboys team, and we can all see that Dak Prescott is by far away from being a game manager. Even if you look at 2022 and in 2021, you can throw in the 2020 situation. Look, the Cowboys don't have this defense like, hey, this is a juggernaut type of defense. We don't have the 85 Bears. We don't have the 2000 Ravens. We don't have that type of defense that can sit back. You can just sit back and say, hey, all Dak got to do is just manage the game. No, he got to go out there and win the game. He got to be the difference maker. Dak Prescott, without him, ladies and gentlemen, is no definitive answer that the Cowboys will be where they at. Now, when Cooper Rush had his spell and had his time in situation with the Cowboys, of course, he's 5-1 as a starter, and I get all of that. But what if I told you every game that we won during that time frame, yes, the Cowboys didn't allow the opposing team to score more than 21 points. That is what you call a game manager. And the defense been the team that been up and down and up and down. You can't lean on this defense, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to score points. You're going to have to move the ball, and that is what Dak Prescott brings to the table. Now, I get it. There will be some people say, well, give me that opportunity to see Cooper Rush in this particular system and scheme and what have you for a long stay. No. 32 other teams passed up on Cooper Rush. They see the tape. They understood what happened this past offseason, right? And eventually Cowboys went and picked them back up. But there's not this situation where we can look back at this particular team and say, hey, man, this defense can carry us. No. Think about it. We lose that Seattle Seahawks game. We do. We ultimately lose that game. And one can argue this past game, even though the score is 33-13, one can argue we probably lose that game if you can't move the ball. Look, man, I get it. People hate Dak Prescott, but, man, come on, man. And this dude right here, Cam Newton, he know better. He flat out knows better.
They're not difference makers.
And when you say game manager, I'm not asking you to go out and win the game. I'm just asking you not to lose.
Not to lose the game. Listen, motherfucker, I don't give a damn what you do. You don't have to score every time. You just don't have to throw a pick every time either. If we're going to really...
And that's bullshit, too, because I know where he's going with it, with that aspect of it. You know, everybody, mama, uncle, cousin talked about picks, what Dak Prescott threw last year. Let me know if that's the case in the scenario that everybody's talking about now. No. People are not talking about that. But they are talking about other things like who you played and who you didn't play. It's crazy how the narrative always shifts when it's around the Cowboys. But let's listen to what he got to say for the tail end of it.
Call a spade a spade. A game manager is different than a game changer.
There's numerous games that you can look back at and say that Dak Prescott is the ultimate game changer. Now, granted, are we in a situation whereas you want to make this thing, two things can be true argument? Yeah, you can say that. But one can argue that no quarterback won it all by themselves. None. you're going to have a complete team. And the teams that tend to win the Super Bowl have defense around them. And that is the argument that we all banged on the table. Yes, Dak Prescott is good in his own way. Yes, Dak Prescott showed you the capabilities of winning games. He had, 14 comeback wins in his career too. But one thing that's been a very much so impediment to this team and for this team been defense. Been defense. And the craziest thing of it all, don't y'all know who look more like Dak Prescott now? Justin Herbert. He looked just like Dak Prescott. A quarterback that got talent, got weapons on that team, but they don't play complementary football. And now you're seeing that team is struggling to win day in and day out. Oops. Don't they look like the Cowboys? Let me know who's the offensive coordinator over there. Let me know if you guys would look at Justin Herbert and say, man, I would love to have that star-studded talent over there. Now, is he equivalent to a game manager now? Hey, coaching matters, y'all. And just like I gave y'all this analogy before, that, yeah, it's cool when you have Pookie and Ray Ray doing your taxes, when you make it $28,000, $40,000, maybe $50,000 a year. But when you start making $150,000 to $200,000, $300,000 a year, you got to go get you a CPA. And that is what Mike McCarthy is. He is the ultimate guy that's going to make plans and make decisions, principles, schemes, philosophy with their route concepts, and also footwork. Hey, the passes that Dak Prescott throws now, they married to his feet. They have understandings that, hey, this is a clear out. This is where you need to go with the ball. This is where leverage should be at. This is a seam route that can take advantages of those situations. We didn't have that before. Now we're seeing a quarterback with total control of this team and of the game, with cadence and beyond. And if you want to value anything, I will value Aaron Rodgers' opinion of Dak Prescott more so than Cam Newton.
First, I want to talk about Dak because he's become one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. I just love that he's really playing the position. What I mean by that is I'm watching him make Ringo calls. So that's protection adjustments against these crazy looks and picking things up. I'm watching him bring the tight end back in against zero pressure and throw an old concept we used to run for a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb in the back end zone. I'm watching him use his cadence beautifully and get into this rhythmic, here we go, right now, into using it as a dummy sometimes, doing it twice, into other cadences. I just want to say he's playing a position in a really impressive way. He might take a little more shit than he deserves. I just want to shout out Dak for really impressing me.
That's all I'm going to say with that, Cowboy Nation, and everyone that's listening. Pay attention to the information, but also pay attention to where the information is coming from. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys.